I'm honestly not sure which series on Netflix that Marvel has that is my favorite. I'm not sure. I enjoyed Daredevil season one. It was a fantastic series to me, especially season one. Then I watched season two, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, the Punisher's there. Then I watched Jessica Jones much later, and it wasn't as action packed. It was a really cool premise. It was really intense. It was really suspenseful, and I enjoyed the hell out of that. But honestly, I'm feeling Luke Cage. I'm feeling it. I was kind of skeptical because people were saying they got an early screening about a few weeks ago, prior to when the series aired on Netflix, and they were saying like it's probably the best. Actually, no, they were very definitive. They're like Luke Cage is the best Marvel Netflix series out. Period. It's what it is. And I was like, okay, that has some tough shoes to fill, man. I mean, look at season two of Daredevil alone. I mean, they saw the Punisher. They saw the fucking Punisher, and it's like, that's hard to top. That's to me it is anyway. Um, it did. I think it definitely did. Somehow managed to be better. I'm not questioning it. I was dying to see Luke Cage when it first came out. But I'm not skeptical of it at all. I was never skeptical of it. I was just surprised that I was like, holy shit, I enjoyed the hell out of this. So now, without further ado, this is actually interesting because the first half of season one of Luke Cage and the second half of season one of Luke Cage, they are very much different. And I'm going to have to do spoilers for the second half because there's spoilers in the second half. Because normally I don't do spoilers for TV shows because each episode has its own unique spoiler. But I can work around with this one up until the second half. I think episode 7 I think is where it starts, obviously because it's a 13 episode thing. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to do not part 1 and part 2, but I'll let you know in the video where the spoilers start. I'm gonna have to do it. At that point, that is when you should know. Everything past episode 6 is when shit starts happening. So that is your warning. It's not going to be right now. Again, look at the time, and then you'll know when to stop the video if you haven't watched it yet. Holy shit, where do I even begin? I mean, let's go through all the characters. I'm not going to talk about every single character. I am looking for time again, but it's probably not going to happen. It's going to be a big video. I'm going to mention all the characters just so I lay out all the characters that we have, and then I will go into detail about a lot of them. Some of them I'm just going to kind of push under the rug, but here we go. Obviously, you got Luke Cage. Out of respect, I'm going to look up the actor who plays Luke Cage because he deserves this. Mike Coulter. God bless you, man. You have this charisma. Luke Cage is kind of known for not being your typical thug. Because one, he's really not a thug because he's obviously trying to do good things, but two, he's such like a respectful gentleman. But yet he can beat the shit out of you, and you just nailed that. You got that look, and I know that sounds wrong, but it's what it is. You got that sweet sister. He gets mad at swear words. Just all that. The way you acted it out was phenomenal. So, Mike Coulter, if by some godly miracle you see this, I want to give a thank you from the bottom of my heart for just kicking ass and nailing the character as Luke Cage. So, thank you. Then you have some other characters like Misty Knight. She at first we thought she was a one night stand. We don't know what her character was until I think later on in episode 1, and then it's very much expanded upon in the rest of the season. We find out she's a detective for the Harlem, the 29th precinct. I'm not sure if it's the Harlem Police Department, but yeah, she's a cop. She's a cop. Her partner is Raphael Scarf. I like Scarf. He's he's like a sarcastic asshole cop, and he's right up my alley. I think me and him are very much alike, but he's like a more extreme version. It's a very interesting way to put a character, because you find out some shit that he's been through in his life and some of the shit he's done. I like Scarf. More on him later. Claire Temple comes back. Now, if you know anything about Claire Temple, she's played by Rosario Dawson. I learned about her in season 2 of Daredevil. I'm sorry, yeah, season 2 of Daredevil. I was like, you know what? Okay, she's a kick-ass actress, man. She really knows how to nail characters, and she nailed Claire Temple to the wall. That needs no more explaining. She's back, and again, she's awesome, and she's a much more prominent role in this than she ever. Cottonmouth. I loved him as Cottonmouth. He was a badass villain. He was, I mean, he wasn't like he was like he had a couple Kingpin moments in the series in the first half. Um, he just, you don't fuck with him. You don't cross him. You just really deep voice, and he can make it really deep, and that alone is menacing. I wish I had his voice just a little bit more than what I have, but um, he is just such a like you never know what he's gonna do. He's an extremely badass character. He's menacing. I like that. The series is that a lot of time is dedicated to the villains. So let's just put it out this way: the villains of season one are, without giving any, just huge, gymongous fat bitch. And I'll tell you what, the actress who played Mariah in this, she did a phenomenal job at making me hate her. That means she's good. That means the actress is good because she's a two-faced, snaky, just lying ever. But that fucking discount Oprah Winfrey meets discount Michelle Obama character. Ooh, fucking god damn it. Again, more on all these characters later, but for now, the spoiler-free shit. Oh my god, you're just like, ugh. You will know why. The main reason I definitely think the actress did a good job as to making me hate her. You will find out in the spoilers. Just stick around. You're gonna want to hear this. To him is just business, and you kind of tell that he's not the boss of everything. You can tell he's always like someone's right hand man.